Yo, 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 what's going on, everyone? Sorry I am late. I forgot how much updating is required for this team event. And yeah, finally got everything updated, up and running. If you guys are unaware, this is a team event, the Zurich Classic. Actually, let me just do the jingle. Welcome in. This is a DFS strategy video for the 2025 Zurich Classic of New Orleans. We're gonna go over a lot of the typical things I do, but we can't go over everything because this is a team format. Normally I would go over the course and tournament information, which we still can. I got no issue doing that. We can go over pass optimal and GPP winning lineups because this is a unique week. Again, it's a team event, so we do have to keep that in mind. And I'll get more into that when we go over the tournament information. When it comes to the bucket system, I'll briefly cover that, but there really is not, it's difficult to do because of the team event nature. And I'll explain more about that when we get to the bucket system portion. I'll still cover that as a, you know, as a segment in this video, but this being a team event just throws everything out the window. But again, as I go through each of those segments, I'll explain why. I think really going over pass optimal and GPP winning lineups, I think that's actually a really good way to quote unquote handicap this event. And then yeah, going from there, I mean, we'll still build lineups. There's a whole different way of building lineups with the optimizer. I know some people have requested it. It just took me all the way up until now to update everything from yesterday till today. It's just, there were 2 events last week, so I had to update, you know, 2 events worth of data. And this is a team event. Oh my goodness. It's just nuts. I totally forgot how much time and energy it takes to do all that stuff. So, I just couldn't get it all done until a little bit late. So here we are. Let's go ahead and, well, first of all, let's run a giveaway. I forgot. Let me throw this up on the screen. So I have weekly and monthly giveaways. The weekly giveaways are always worth $5 of cash. Monthly giveaways, if we reach the sub goal, I should say this, even if we don't reach the sub goal, I'm giving away a membership to SweetSpotDFS.com. It is my website that has a lot of the information you're going to see throughout this video. So I'm going to give a monthly membership away every single month. And that's a $20 value. Now, if we reach the goal, I'll add a t-shirt to the mix. And if you happen to have a t-shirt, we can always bank that money. So I just give it a $20 value, basically. I mean, the t-shirt's a $25 value. So just throw that in there. So if we do reach a sub goal, it's like a pretty darn close to a $50 value. Which we used to do, $50 cash giveaways for the monthlies. But anyways, I think the website's fantastic. And if you're not a member on there yet, you should be. If you sign up for free, you can be entered into the giveaway you see on the screen. It's a $1,000 giveaway. And if I reach 1,000 subscribers on this channel, I'm going to give away $1,000 worth of giveaways. Now, 2 of those giveaways are in the form of a membership. One's a lifetime membership to SweetSpotDFS.com, and the other one is an annual membership. Both of those combined are $800 values, but I'm going to give away 2 $100 cash giveaways. So if you're not interested in the memberships, I think what I'll do is I'll run, well, once we get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll just run the giveaways. And it'll be first come, first serve. If you want the lifetime membership, wonderful. If not, if you just want the cash giveaway, then it'll be first come, first serve when it comes to those types of giveaways. But again, go sign up on SweetSpotDFS.com. It is free. It doesn't even require you to enter any credit card information, no bank information, nothing. Just go sign up and you get entered into this giveaway because you have to provide your email. I get that email list. And once we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to run the giveaway and I will email you. Whatever email address you provide, I will email you and say, hey, you won. You won. Here's the, you know, here are the choices of giveaways, basically. So anyways, let's go ahead and I'm on the wrong sheet, but let's run that giveaway. This is a $5 giveaway, by the way, and this will all go towards the monthly giveaway, which will be next Tuesday. No, it can't be next Tuesday. 2 Tuesdays from now. I'm gonna add this, the RB Heritage down here. So currently 164 entries into that giveaway, the monthly giveaway. In this weekly giveaway, we have 37, and I'm just gonna get right to it and do the drum roll. AJ Love, you are the winner, sir. And we have a reference issue? Why do we have a reference issue? Congrats, AJ. Hold on, timeout. Did I give you an entry accident? I am so confused. Why? Okay. AJ, you're the winner. I wonder how that all got stopped. I know it's going to show Denny, but anytime I make an update, the randomizer is going to hit. But I have no idea why that happened. Either way, congrats. First time I saw that. I must have deleted something and that just made the things all weird. Did I have an Andy Conway last week? Oh, I did. Interesting. Cool. I'm just showing you that it's a randomizer. That everything is random, but congrats, AJ, on the win. That's $5 towards you, and I already have all your information, so let's go ahead. You know what? I forgot to open up the golf course stats. I forgot to even... Oh my god, I also forgot to update the database. Unbelievable, dude. I am all over. All over the place. I don't think I have everything. Oh, I do. Thank God. Or no, I don't. Never mind. So the RBC Heritage stuff and the Corrales Punta Cana is not in the website right now, but that's fine. I'll update it after this. Can't believe I have everything. Hold on. I can do this quick. I just have to publish it. There were some updates I was making to the website that I didn't want to publish anything just yet because it's unfinished. But we will go ahead and publish this, and I think I can just refresh it and it should update properly. Anyways, here, I'm gonna hit you with a transition and then we're gonna go into the course and tournament information. All right, so the first thing to talk about when it comes to the golf course and tournament information is, one, it's a team event. And it's not even so much talking about the golf course, it's talking about the tournament. We have 80 teams of 2. So there are 2 golfer teams, or teams of 2, I should say. And there are 160 golfers total in the field. But again, there are 80 teams. Thursday, they're going to do a best ball. Friday, they're going to do an alternate shot. And the fact that there's an alternate shot that's a part of this entire tournament structure makes handicapping this tournament or picking golfers based off of statistics almost like incredibly difficult, if not impossible. Not so much impossible along the lines like you can't figure out which golfers are going to do well at this event, but impossible as to use any type of strokes gain metrics, even a little bit of the sweet spot process, like doing the buckets. It's almost impossible because, again, there are 2 golfers in a team. You can't mesh them together into one golfer and then try to figure out what common stats show up inside the top 10 or what common stats win this event. Because Here, let's just actually look at the teams right now. I'll go here and I'll sort these by teams. So team 1 is Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy. Well, you might think to yourself, well, that's easy. It's Rory. You know, pick Rory. He's the hottest golfer on planet Earth right now. We should pick Rory no matter what. Yeah, no issue. They also won this event last year. So it just seems correct to choose those golfers, especially when you look at the next most expensive team. It's Collin Morikawa and Kurt Kitayama. They're not even in the same. I mean, Collin Morikawa is in the same stratosphere as Rory McIlroy. You know, like if we call Rory an A+ golfer, Morikawa would be an A golfer, and Shane Lowry would probably be an A- B+ golfer, but Kurt Kitayama would be like a C or a C+ golfer. So when you add both Collin Morikawa and Kurt Kitayama together to go with Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy, they don't even come close. And I'm not gonna. Okay, so I'm not gonna go through all the teams right now, but if I were to go to the 2024 results of this tournament, Chad Ramey and Martin Traynor finished second place, and I think they ended up going into a playoff with Rory and Shane Lowry. Those two golfers, they were number 67 and number 123 in my model. And just to make it a little bit crazier, Ryan Brehm and Mark Hubbard finished third, and Ryan Brehm was 129th in my model. This was last year's results. This is how crazy this event is. How, you know, you get a two golfer team together, anything is possible. So just to let's go over that tournament structure once again. Thursday, they're doing best ball, which means these golfers, again, in pairs of two, teams of two, they will tee off and they will complete their golf ball all the way through the hole. Or not complete. They'll play their ball all the way until the completion of the hole. Now, dependent on which teammate scores the lowest score, that's the score you keep. So if we go back to 2025 and you have Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy, Rory birdies the first hole with his own golf ball and Shane bogeys it. You don't take the average of that score or those two scores, which would be 4. You take Rory's 3. And then you go to the next hole and you do the same thing. So that's best ball. That's where this quote unquote ham and egg. I mean, it's a golf term. We all know what ham and egg is if you're a competitive golfer. But the whole ham and egg portion comes into play. So basically on these best balls, which will be Thursday and Saturday's rounds, that's when these teams will shoot somewhere in the vicinity of like 9, 10, 11 under. You know, it was notably Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay, I think it was 2 years ago, shot 59 in their opening round, and they were only leading the tournament by like 1 or 2. Like, it gets nuts. And really, it just depends on how the team performs on the holes. Because, I mean, a lot of people have been saying this, and it's true. If the golfers get birdies if the team of 2, if each golfer gets birdies on the same hole, and say they get 9 total birdies each, if they birdie the same 9 holes, they're only 9 under. But if they were to birdie every other hole, like if golfer A birdies all the odd holes and golfer B birdies all the even holes, well, now you're 18 under. That's how different, that's how some of these lower priced teams can shoot really low and have a chance to win this event. Now, the chaos really begins with the alternate shot. So Friday and Sunday will be alternate shot. And again, there's a cut. I shouldn't say again, I didn't even say that. There is a cut. I think it's gonna be the top 30 teams make the cut. So it's not even top 65 players, it's just top 60 players. And I wanna say it's even a bit more strict. Like normally it's top 30 teams and ties, but I wanna say they'll cut it off at some point. I just don't remember what the actual rules are. So there'll be more golfers cut this week than there'll be in any other tournament, because again, they're groups or they're teams of 2. So you could either look at this as there are 80 entities out there, or there are 160 players. There's 80 teams or there's 160 players. And technically, you know, 30 teams make it, 50 teams get cut. But anyways, that really doesn't mean all that much, other than obviously it's already chaotic with Friday and Sunday alternate shot. But it's also chaotic that the cut is so many golfers. So no matter what, this is probably one of those weeks that if you wanted to take a break, which a lot of people around the industry have, especially with content creation, take the break. Because this truly is basically digging in a hat and pulling out a name, and that's your winner. I mean, like, Rory and Shane are going to have the best chance to win this event again. But they're probably going to be competing with golfers that you didn't even know would even come close to competing in this event, that you're not even going to predict plays well at this event. So really embrace the chaos, embrace the volatility, as people like to say. And I think this is one of those tournaments where if you wanted to throw in a couple random 6K golfers, by all means do so. This is the perfect week to do it. And if you want to jam in Shane or Rory, I think it's absolutely possible this week. You know, in a way, I almost feel like Rory McIlroy is just an autopilot. And his autopilot game is good enough to win the Masters. I'm not saying that's what he did at the Masters, but I think he could come to this event and autopilot and still finish inside the top 5. Him and Shane. You know, we can all speculate how much they've partied together, how much they've celebrated Rory's win, but it's like, I think just Rory's game is pretty solid right now, that it'd be really interesting if he were to miss the cut, and if he doesn't miss the cut, he's going to top 5 for sure. So that's kind of how I feel about Rory and Shane this week, but again, it kind of applies to a lot of these other teams. And there are some really good teams. I'm not going to talk about all of them right now. I just kind of still want to go over this tournament information. And golf course, which I don't know. The golf course here, if you want, you guys can go to SweetSpotDFS.com. I have a page that's just dedicated to golf course stats. And you can see the yardage, the par, the architect, the turf grass. There is overseed this year. The overseed is basically just on the greens, so it's Poa Trivialis on the greens. I just want to double check something quick. Yeah. So we have Poa on the greens and on the collars, and it's kind of just a thin Bermuda all around. So you can use all that stuff to your advantage if you want to look for golfers that play well on Bermuda fairways or whatever. I think I'll say this. There's a cheat sheet that's available to you guys. I have not yet updated it to reflect the Zurich Classic for the cheat sheet that you see on the screen. But if you scroll down and you go click here. Oh, I'm surprised it's not showing up right here. There must be something going on. Oh, it's frozen. Oh, there is something there. Let me refresh. I was scrolling on it. I don't know why it's not showing. There we go. You can also look at the cheat sheet here, or you can click right here and this brings up the cheat sheet. Now, the only thing that I have for grass stats is Pete Dye. I did not include, you know, Bermuda or Poa. I just don't care. Honestly, like, this is a week that, yeah, if I want to give some of these players a model boost, I'm going to use the Pete Dye stats. If you guys want to use the grass stats, go for it. In the future, I most likely will, because I'll be using the website exclusively. But because I can't quite do that just yet when it comes to modeling golfers, I'm just not going to put the effort in to put other grass stats here other than Pete Dye. I think this is just good enough. It's fine. Your number 1 golfer is Rory, which, surprise, surprise. Number 3 golfer in this field is Shane Lowry, by the way. So, like, they just have the creme de la creme for their team. So yeah, if you want to use the cheat sheet, Again, the grass stats that I'm using are the Pete Dye stats. I am not using any other grass stat, but you certainly can if you have a different site that you use. And when it comes to shot shapes, there's really nothing nothing that is really needed off the tee. You can hit any shot shape off the tee. When it comes to approach shots, though, this is probably why, like, maybe a golfer like Rory would enjoy this golf course. There's more draws than there are fades. And again, for those that don't know, I don't really take a huge amount of importance on shot shapes because you can play a golf course any way you want. You can strategize however you'd like. You could club down off of some of these holes where if there are dog legs and you just can't hit that shot shape, it doesn't really matter. You'll have a longer approach shot, but how do we quantify that? It's just difficult. So if you don't want to use shot shapes, by all means, that's good by me. If you were to use it in some kind of modeling, I would just put like 1 out of 100 weights, just 1 out of 100, and apply it to your model that way. But this is available to you, so it's kind of the golf course. I don't really have anything else to say about it other than it's a Pete Dye golf course, and we saw that last week as well. And that's also what's applied to the cheat sheet. Now there's like, I could talk about the strength of field, but I don't know if it's really that important. I was just on the RBC Heritage there, my bad. So like the strength of field's 391 this year. Last year it was 363. So it's a little bit better this year than it was last year. In 2023, it was 326. So even better yet this year versus the last 2 years. But in 2022, it was 462. That's crazy. And I'm only going over strength of field. Just if you wanted to compare the previous years, I'm just kind of giving you a, you know, I don't know if you wanted to call it like a ratio as to how to measure out the other events versus this one, but yeah, it's pretty much in the same ballpark as all the other tournaments, all the other Zurich Classics, I should say. Okay, so that's the tournament and course information. I'm gonna see what chat has to say. Just a reminder, this is a live video, so I do have a chat that's running, and I like to talk to them between segments. I didn't even get to say hi to anybody earlier. I just kind of went into how crazy this event is because it's a team event. So there's Gabe. He says he'll watch the replay in the morning. Just want to wish everyone good luck this week. Of course, Eric doesn't need much luck right now. Seems like a ton of skill. Thanks, Gabe. I actually forgot. I was going to open the video out with a review of last week. I'll do that after. Actually, yeah, we'll do that after the pass optimal and GPP winning lineups coming up. So I'm gonna do that segment first, and then we'll get into a review, and I'll tell you how well I did. AJ goes, I'm pumped up after my $35 win, 16 points away from first place. Was that the $5 drive the green, AJ? I don't know what the price structure is for what you mentioned. If I would have had Novak instead of Rogers, I would have beat the top lineup by 60 points. Wow, that's insane, man. I was wondering if it wasn't Tuesday. Oh, because of how late I was. Yeah. Going on, Lombardi? Nice to see you. AJ, what were you saying holy cow to? Oh, were you winning? I got you. John, nice to see you in the chat. Colin was hitting the ball all over the place. I said, yeah, Colin Morikawa kind of, he's an interesting golfer right now. I think I'm not going to talk to the media, I don't owe you anything type of comment that he made and all the scrutiny he got from it. I think it's kind of messing with him a little bit. What was I going to do? I was going to look up one other thing, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. I think we're fine. Let's get into the pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. Of course, you can follow along, or you can actually look at the same tools that I'm going to provide here by going to SweetSpotDFS.com and creating an account. Now, unfortunately, these are behind a paywall. So if you do want access to this, you're going to have to become a weekly, a monthly, an annual, or a lifetime member. And what I love about this tool is we can select whatever tournament we want to look at. Obviously, we want to look at the Zurich Classic, and just plug that in. And really, I want to only look at, I think it's the last, yeah, this team event goes all the way back to 2017. Okay, so we just really want to look at all the way to 2017. And one way to do that is you just select all the years that we want to look at. So it's just the years that you see. Now I keep track of 3 different lineups. I keep track of the GPP winning lineup. If I click that, this is the GPP winning lineup over the last, I guess I only have 4 years worth of data. The optimal lineup, which I also only have 4 years of data. And then the SweetSpot optimal, which is a lineup that uses close to 49,600. I see there's a 49,005. But basically what I want to do with the SweetSpot optimal is I want to build a lineup that uses $49,600 of the salary, and I want it to beat the GPP winning lineup. In all reality, I want it to be as close to the optimal lineup as possible without being the optimal lineup. But again, I want it to spend 49,600. So I will make certain like acceptances, I guess, where it's like, so in 2024, the SweetSpot optimal used $49,500 of the salary. Now, it might well be that if I wanted to use $49,600 of the salary, as opposed, you know, if I wanted to spend $100 more, I might not even have gotten a lineup close enough to beat the GPP. It might even been so far away from being the GPP that I had to make the exception and only and then add a lineup that's 49,500. I didn't look into this one specifically, but I imagine that's what happened. So the wonderful thing about this tool is there's all these filters you can use. Right now, I obviously applied, the year filter, and I've applied the lineup filter. I can, open up the tool to all of the lineups, deselect, I should say, the SweetSpot optimal, so it pulls in all 3 lineups for the last 4 years, and then really get a sense of what salary build shows up inside the top 10, or I should say inside the top 10. What salary build wins you money? Because that's what all of these lineups do. The GPP winning lineup is always going to be the lowest scoring lineup out of the 3. Because again, the SweetSpot optimal, I want to beat the GPP winning lineup. And the optimal lineup is the perfect lineup. So the GPP winning lineup that I've recorded is going to be the lowest scoring one. So all 3 of these lineups will help you win money. Like they would have helped you win money in those previous years. And again, I'm analyzing it because, well, maybe there's just a common trend that we want to follow when building lineups for this tournament. So we have 4 records amongst all 3 of the lineups: 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. If you've been to this channel before, well, I should say this, if it's the first time being in this channel, I used to make a jingle before I built this website to say, you want to start your lineups by building it with a 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6 structure. And then you can make up to 2 substitutions. So, this 6K, we can sub to a 7K. That's 1 substitution. But if you wanted to move that 6 to an 8K, I would consider that 2 substitutions, because you're going from a 6 to a 7 and then from a 7 to an 8. That's 2 substitutions. I wouldn't ever say move a 6 to a 9K. It's unlikely you would even be able to make it work, but that would be 3 substitutions. Just throwing that out there. You don't have to really worry much about that. Just start with a 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6, and maybe just change 2 salaries, and that's it. That are close to each other, basically. So what you get is you got 4 records that are 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. Then you have 4 records that are 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 7. So it's literally making that substitution from a 6 to a 7. So I have 12 total lineups that I have recorded over the last 4 years at the Zurich Classic. And out of those 12 lineups, 8 of them start with a 10, 9, 8, 7, 7 start. Now it's just your choice. Do you want to put a 6 in there, or do you want to put a 7K golfer in there? The other lineup that I have here is a 10, 8, 7, 7, 7, 6. So technically that is moving a 9K golfer down to a 7K golfer, and that's 2 substitutions. And then we have a 10, 2 8s, 2 7s, and a 6. That's subbing a 9K down to an 8K. And that's just 1 substitution. Then you have a 10, 3 8s, a 7, and a 6. That's only 2 substitutions. We're subbing a 7 to an 8 and a 9 to an 8. A 9 down to an 8, a 7 up to an 8. And then we've got a 9, 3 8s, a 7, and a 6. And I imagine we're leaving $1,000 on the table. I don't ever recommend leaving more than basically $400 or $500 on the table. I think this week, because there are teams of 2, I'm going to double everything that I say pretty much. So if I say you want to leave no more than $400 on the table, I think for this event, we can leave up to $800 on the table, just because it's a 2-man, or it's a it's a team event of 2 golfers per team. So I had to do that with the bucket system. That's one thing I relearned from last year to this year. I'm like, you can't be too strict when it comes to certain lineup builds because of just the team nature of this. Throwing that out there, just, you know, I think it's worthwhile. And because this is so crazy of an event, I'm not going to look at any other tournaments. I'm not going to, and I'm not going to use, you know, like the Ryder Cup or the President's Cup, because it's not the same. Like if anyone's telling you to use those events, I think they're dead wrong, because those are match play events. They're not stroke play events. This is a stroke play event where you are doing teams. It is best ball. It is alternate shot, and strokes matter. Whereas when you're playing a match, it's just you versus the other team for 1 hole, and you just continue 1 hole at a time, 1 hole at a time, 1 hole at a time. You either win, you lose, or you draw on that hole. And you continue to do that until you run out of holes. This is not anything like match play, it's stroke play. So I wouldn't use any of those team stats whatsoever. You don't even play the same type of golf. You don't. You do not play the same type of golf. So if you are listening to people that are saying, oh yeah, you can use Ryder Cup and President's Cup information, don't do it. Don't do it. I think that would be silly. And then if you wanted to take a look at any of these optimal lineups, like zoomed in, I have another page where you can actually highlight that. So this is called the Pass Optimal and GPP Winning Lineup tool. Basically, you can find that under Fantasy Tools under Pass Optimals. Put in the tournament you want to look at, and then let's say for 2024, we want to check out what the GPP winning lineup was. Yeah, they're going to be 12 golfers, because you build lineups of 6, right? That's what you're going to do with DraftKings. That's what you're going to do with FanDuel. You're going to draft teams, or you're going to draft 6 golfers. And I know DraftKings won't allow you to put 2 golfers on the same team together. They're only going to let you do 1 golfer per team. But technically, you can have any of the golfers in the team, either 2 of the golfers, not any of them, like there's more than 2. Any 2 of the golfers. So obviously Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy won the event last year. Well, they have to be considered both in the GPP winning lineup. They both have to be considered in the optimal lineup, and they both have to be considered in the sweet spot optimal. They both scored 118 points. So there are technically 12 golfers that were in the GPP winning lineup. And the same thing's going to be applied to the optimal and the sweet spot optimal. That's why handicapping this event is very difficult. It's just, I don't even know where to go from there. It's difficult. And trying to use any type of stat is also going to be very challenging, because I imagine a lot of these golfers that are in these groups, some of them suck. Maybe they're with better players. Like, for instance, the Sweet Spot Optimal has Matt Fitzpatrick and his younger brother, Alex Fitzpatrick. Alex isn't on the PGA Tour. He's qualified for some events before, but he is not a tour member, a PGA Tour member. He's not that good. Like, he would be on tour if he was. But Big Brother helped him through, and they finished 11th place, and we're in the Sweet Spot Optimal together. Yeah, and it makes things messy. But again, I just wanted to mention this is how you would look at the sweet spot, the GPP, and the optimal lineup from the historic salary builds. So it's there for you to take a look at if you want. Again, become a SweetSpot or a member at SweetSpotDFS.com, and then it is behind a paywall, so you will have to either pay $4.99 a week, $19.99 a month, or $200 a year. Hey, by the way, if you're a YouTube member and you're a paying YouTube member, that costs you $4.99 on YouTube. I will knock that off of your monthly membership if you are interested in becoming both a member on YouTube and at SweetSpotDFS.com. So just reach out to me at SweetSpotDFS@gmail.com and let me know. But that's gonna cover it for pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. I mean, we saw what we needed to see: 10-9-8, 7-7-6, 10-9-8, 7-7-7. And I think when it comes to building lineups later tonight, we just stick to that whole strategy. So that covers it for the pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. I'm gonna check in with chat quickly. AJ goes, was wondering if anyone saw my SweetSpot logo. I was in the top 10 of the Drive the Green for most of the day Sunday, so I stopped watching and did other things to take my mind off of it. Dude, I do the same thing. Except for when I won the winner take all for $1,000, I was watching the last couple holes to make sure I won it. AJ goes, I was really hoping for a better finish, but I was super proud of my lineup that I built in, I think, DFS, or in this, I don't know what the Diswell is. Even Rogers, sorry ass, did well Sunday. That's awesome. Oh man, a lot of people in the Sweet Spot Society were up at the top of the leaderboards. I actually saw Bryson, who requests my optimizer every single week. And Bryson, I will get you your optimizer here. I want to run it while going through this video just to make sure I catch any bugs, because again, it's different. It's a team event. So I just want to run the optimizer before sending it out, and then if there are any issues, then I can fix them before sending the optimizer out. But I will send out all the optimizers to the people who requested them. But yeah, Bryson was up there in the winner take all for $1,000 with me. I ended up winning the one that he was like in third place the entire time, but I saw his logo at the top of I saw the SweetSpot DFS logo at the top. Can't remember. I don't know if it's you, Shot Like Harden, but I think you've got like a kind of a messy looking SweetSpot DFS logo, if I remember correctly. Somebody does. I don't know if it's you. Somebody does at the top. I can always email the SweetSpot DFS logo. If you want it, I can email it to you. Just let me know. Send me an email, and I will give you all the different logos that you can use. Now, I realized that the website has specific, so if you were to import or upload a picture, it has specific criteria as to how big the image should be. And so some of you guys who, when you visit the website, the pictures don't load for you. Some of you don't, I don't know what it is, but it's like a system requirement, or I think it has a little bit to do with resolution. So if you were on a computer that doesn't have a high resolution, you know, at least 1080p, I would imagine you would need, you're not going to see the logos. I did start changing some of them. So the SweetSpot DFS logo on the website at the top left, that now shows for everybody, but it's very blurry. So I need to somehow fix that, because again, the site wants you to use specific dimensions for each logo. And so I'm working on it. I'm getting through it. We're figuring it out. My logo looks sloppy. Oh, AJ, maybe it was you. Yeah, no, I can send really clear resolution logos to anybody who wants to use them. And I'll send you the whole gamut. You can use whatever logo you want to put up there. It does not matter. I've got like 12 different versions of the logo. So I can send them all to you guys. Okay. let's go over a review of the RBC Heritage as well as the Corrales Punta Cana. So last week, I ended up taking down $1,200 from a winner-take-all contest. I did post it on Twitter. Oops, I forgot to post that I'm live. Well, we'll post it right now. Whoops. Let me see this. Yeah. Throw this up there. Can't really see it. Right here. So we won $1,200. We put in 106. So you guys can sort of see it. Can I zoom in a little bit more? No, zooming in does nothing. Okay, so yeah, I put $106 in. Ended up coming out with $1,283, primarily because I max entered the winner take all, won $1,000 there. And then the dime time, I finished third with a better scoring lineup than I had in the winner take all. And I got $50 from that. And then these little winner take alls, the 25 cent, I max enter those and I put different lineups in each of these. So I did get, I think I got 4 of them. And I was really close to winning 2 more. Someone just edged me out though. So, you know, good for them. But yeah, it was a fantastic week, very successful. This was my lineup. I had Russell Henley, Victor Hovland, Sung J.M., Danny Berger, Brian Harmon, and Andrew Novak. I didn't even have the winner. I did not have Justin Thomas. And I scored 596. I was 20 points ahead, well, 19 points ahead of second place. A lot of my guys got me the all rounds under 70 bonus, so that really helped. And I believe I built this lineup on the Wednesday night live stream that I do for members only on YouTube. So you could have seen it there. Yeah, that was fantastic. Sweet spot process, baby. That's all I can say. I follow it 100%. I build lineups using the optimizer for all of my lineups. And if you're there Wednesday night, I build most of them for you Wednesday night, or not for you. I build them for myself, but you guys get to see the lineups that I'm building. Maybe I should take an excerpt, or not an excerpt. I should clip when I built that lineup. I hope I did. I know I still had a lot of lineups to build that night. Ended up getting off, I disconnected from the live stream fairly early, and I still had more lineups to build, but I needed to get food. So anyways, yeah, it was fantastic. And when we look at the RBC Heritage, this is really the only tournament that I even put money in. I did do the $5 drive the green for the Corrales Punta Cana, and I'll show you the Corrales Punta Cana sweet spot process. I didn't talk about it last week, but I always put something together usually. So I have projections for each of these buckets, and based off of those projections, I keep track of how many of those golfers from the buckets, from each bucket, finished inside the top 10, who were in the optimal lineup, and who were in the sweet spot optimal. So basically, the projection here, min, this shows a 3, but I think I bumped this down to a 2. We always round down with the minimum, and if it's a flat number like this, I always go 1 number down. So I went 2, and we always round up with this number. I went to 5. 2 to 5 is what I had for this projection. We had 5 inside the top 10, and we had 2 in the optimal lineup, so that makes that bucket a success. And I do that for every bucket going down. And if you guys want, you guys can pause the video, take a screenshot, hold me accountable, but I know this, it all works out. Last week ones, or not ones, sorry, last week twos. This bucket failed. It truly failed. Most of the time, there are 36 total buckets, and every single week we see somewhere between 33 to 36 buckets correct. So here's 1 bucket wrong out of the 36. This bucket down here, the last week's 6s, if you follow me every single week, I say the same thing every single week, so I'm not blowing smoke when I say this. We always round down with the minimum, so 0.51 rounds down to 0, and we always round up with the maximum. This is 0.85, that'd round up to 1. But I always want a 2-point buffer between the minimum and the maximum. So technically this is a 0 to 2 bucket. My formula that indicates if this is a yes or a no does not have that in there. Again, I explain this every single week. It's too much coding. I don't have enough bandwidth to put that in. I'm just not going to. I can just show you there were 3 inside the top 10, 2 in the optimal lineup. That means this bucket was successful. So this no really is a Y. And then when we scroll down here, strokes gained 2, I said you want it somewhere between 1 to 3. 0 were inside the top 10, 0 were in the optimal lineup, but there was 1 in the sweet spot optimal. And if the sweet spot optimal beats the GPP winning lineup, that means this bucket is successful because I did have 1 that was in the sweet spot optimal. And then when it comes down to this one, this is one of those 0 to 2 buckets. Again, the formula that indicates if it's a yes or a no does not incorporate the 2-point buffer. Again, if you know nothing about programming or coding, it would be so many lines of code that I would have to put in here to make this work out. I just choose not to, and just show you guys instead. You want a 2-point buffer. There were 3 golfers inside the top 10. There were 2 golfers that were in the optimal lineup, 2 golfers in the sweet spot optimal. So out of all of these buckets, really 2 are wrong, but the potential of just one of them being wrong is alive. As long as the sweet spot optimal takes down the GPP winning lineup, this bucket that I've just highlighted becomes a yes as well. So it'd be yes here, and then yes here. The only one that's really truly a no is this one right there, which is the last week 2 bucket. So the tally is either 34 out of 36 buckets correct or 35 out of 36 buckets correct. And really it's just, let's take a review. Did the sweet spot optimal beat the GPP? The $5 GPP, there were 2 of them, by the way. I only recorded 1 for the golfers, but there were 2 and they scored the same amount of points. They scored 606 points and they actually had 3 different golfers in them. So it scored 606, used up all 50,000 of the salary, the one that I pulled. The sweet spot optimal, again, we got to beat 606. Sweet spot optimal scored 624.5. The optimal scored 657.5. So the sweet spot optimal was still 30 points behind the optimal, but it was nearly 20 points above the GPP winning lineup. So that one bucket that was like, maybe it could be successful, we count that as a success. And your optimal lineup golfers for the RBC Heritage were JT, Novak, Hughes, Harmon, Berger, and McNeely. The guys in the sweet spot optimal were JT, Novak, Hughes, Henley, Sung JM, JT Poston. And then the golfers in blue would be your GPP winning lineup golfers. Now, the last missing piece to this that I include with all the sweet spot processes are the marquee tee times. So again, this is for the RBC Heritage. And if I sort this by the group rank from A to Z, we're going to see all of the groups that were paired up in 2s. And basically the rule is you want to select 2 to 4 golfers to put into your lineup from the marquee tee times, and you do not want to pair them up together. So if you liked Scotty last week, you didn't want to pair him with Victor Hovland. Now, Justin Thomas won the event. He played with Corey Connors, who finished 49th. This is a perfect example why you don't pair golfers up together. JT was hot. He shot a 61 in round 1. And that just catapulted him into the victory. So I think that has a little bit to do with why Corey Connors played poorly. If you didn't know, golfers draft off of each other, and sometimes if someone's doing really well, the pressure just amounts on you. You want to try to keep up with them because you get the first row seats as to what it's going to, take to catch the leader. He's playing with you. So sometimes there's a confidence issue. It just, playing together matters. And quite frankly, I still will always only want to select one golfer from a group, and there you have it with JT. Now, unfortunately, there was only one golfer in the optimal lineup from the marquee tee times instead of 2 to 4, somewhere between 2 to 4. There were, however, 3 golfers in the sweet spot optimal. There were 2 golfers in the GPP winning lineup, and none of them played together. You can scroll down a little bit, and you can see even here, Bobby Mack was with JT Poston. So he and Wyndham didn't play together. Almost, it looks like it. And then Harmon was in the optimal lineup, and he played with Benny Ann. Berger was in the optimal lineup and he played with Woodland. Mackenzie Hughes was in the optimal lineup and he played with Ryan Gerard. Mav McNeely was in the optimal lineup and he played with Sam Burns. So really you have no combinations of golfers that played together that were in any of the winning lineups. So that was the RBC Heritage. And just to breeze through the Corrales Punta Cana, all the buckets were successful for the Corrales Punta Cana. Again, I didn't provide a bucket system for this. I just built a random lineup, and basically because I wanted to pull the stats, like the DraftKings information from the event. That's the only reason I played it. There weren't very good contests on DraftKings for it, so I just kind of ignored it. But the same thing applies. So 36 buckets were correct. And when we reviewed the GPP winning lineup, scored 573.5. The SweetSpot Optimal scored 647.5. And the Optimal scored 662. So the SweetSpot Optimal was really close. I'm not actually going to talk about the golfers. The only other piece that I want to talk about are the marquee tee times, because guess what? There are marquee tee times even for an alternate event. So if I go ahead and put a filter on this and we go by group rank, here you go. These were actually in groups of 3. So I'll highlight the groups of 3. You can see who the golfers were, whether or not they were playing together, of the either optimal lineup, the GPP winning lineup, or the SweetSpot Optimal. We had a couple withdrawals from some of these lineups there. So I could actually zoom in a little bit more. Maybe not that much. 180? Nope. 165 is usually the correct. Okay. So here you get it. You get the same thing. You have 2 golfers in the optimal lineup, Alejandro Tosti and Joel Damon, who... That was rough. He lost that tournament so bad. 3 bogeys in a row and lost by 1. 3 bogeys in a row to finish the tournament on holes 16, 17, and 18. Crazy. But yeah, you have 2 optimal lineup golfers in the marquee tee times. You have 3 SweetSpot optimal lineup golfers, and you have 3 GPP winning lineup golfers. So not only do the marquee tee times work for the marquee events, the signature events, they also work for the alternate events. It just happens that way. I could try to give you all the reasons why I think it happens. It's just golf, and that's just what tends to happen in golf. So it's kind of your review of the Corrales and the RBC Heritage. I really don't talk about the players that won the tournament. I don't even talk about the event. I mostly just care about the SweetSpot process, how well it did in those weeks, so then we can use it to talk about this week's event. So obviously the 2025 Zurich is what we're going to be going to next. And we will talk about the buckets. Let me see what's new in chat before I get there. Again, it's a live video, so I'm going to interact with my chat. Why would you all quit watching? All this is about the sweat. Shot like hard, and that has a lot to do with superstition, I think. Honestly, for me, I've actually watched 2 of my lineups hit, and I didn't watch one of the other. So when Jason Day won me the quarter arcade, which was worth a whole whopping $300, I didn't watch the event at all. I was like, oh yeah, there's a golf tournament. I wonder how I'm doing. And I just open up my DraftKings and I'm winning the quarter arcade. I was like, oh, or the quarter jukebox. I'm like, oh, okay. And so then I was following the last 2 holes of Jason Day. He ends up birding the last hole because it's a par 5 and it's easy to birdie. And that just solidified the win. I was like, oh, sweet. So I didn't really have a sweat because I wasn't worried about it. But like, I noticed Friday and Saturday, I was getting closer and closer and closer to the top of the leaderboard for the RBC Heritage. And then Sunday, I woke up, and I mean, it's not so much I woke up, but I ended up starting watching it around 1 p.m., which is not when I woke up, but I started watching it around 1 p.m. And I looked at the leaderboard and I was like, oh, dang, I'm up to 9th place. Like, I looked at the golfers that I had on my team. Some of them were getting close to finishing, and they all, not all, but I think 4 out of my 6 golfers got all rounds under 70. And a lot of them got their like birdie 3 streaks that Sunday and stuff like that. So I'm like looking at, I'm like, oh, wow, I actually have a shot to win this. I didn't do all the math and stuff like that, but I'm like, I'm gonna watch this for a little bit, but then I'm gonna go out and do errands because I want to, you know, be productive, and maybe me being productive will put a good juju out there for me. Whereas if I sit there and I'm a nervous Nelly watching all of it, I'm like, I'd rather not do that. So that's why I ended up, I didn't watch it for a while. And then I came back and watched it to conclusion. Actually, what was I doing? I missed JT winning it. I forget what I was doing. I was off somewhere. I don't remember. But I missed JT winning in the playoff. I don't remember what I was doing. Oh well. But either way, that was nice. And AJ goes, I couldn't take it anymore. That's funny. Ryan goes, hey Eric, that winner take all gave me profit last week. How did it give you profit? Oh, you're talking about the little 25-cent games? I saw you were up there too. Did you beat me in one of those contests? I thought I got you on one of them. But yeah, I did see you. I saw you up there. Yeah, I like those contests. Those contests, to me, are just a good way to get your money back. You just got to hit once, like with one of them, and you pretty much get your entry fee back, or however you play. I don't know how much money you put in it. I put about $100. So I put one lineup in 2 of those contests, different contests, not the same one, because that would be silly. But in 2 different contests, and I tend to win 2 at a time. Makes your money back, so it's pretty good. What's going on, Ryan? Thank you, Shelly Carden. Thank you, AJ. I think what hurt me was McNeely started to drop late in his round. Yeah, and honestly, McNeely dropping helped me win that winner take all. So, Shelly Carden goes, I live for the sweat. Yeah, I mean, some of us, you know, I think part of me was just I had things to do and I didn't want to waste my day pretty much biting my nails, seeing if I was going to take down the winner take all. So anyways, let's talk about the bucket system. So I alluded to this at the beginning of the video in the intro. It's difficult to do a bucket system, and that a large reason is because I build my projections based off of 6 golfers that you need to select, and then a max of 10 golfers to finish inside the top 10. Well, when we look at this, we have teams of 2 golfers per team. So technically, if I actually highlight over all the golfers who finished inside the top 10, well, 10 times 2, that equals 20. So inside the top 10 will always be 20 golfers, no matter what. It could be more if there are ties, but inside the top 10, there are 20 golfers. So when it comes to the bucket system, technically what I could do is drop each of the bucket criteria in half, because that would be accounting for the double in the players, or the double for, you know, the 2-man teams. Here's the issue. If I go to 2024, just looking at Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry, I'm actually going to go ahead and put a filter on this, and I'm going to clear out everyone except for those 2 golfers. Just looking at Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry. Rory is in the strokes gained 1 bucket. Shane is in the strokes gained 3 bucket. They already represent 2 different buckets. If I go to the summary page, it's like, oh, well, strokes gained 1. Okay, so it tells me that I want somewhere between 1 to 2, but of course we want to round down with this number, that'd be a 0, and we'd round up with this number, that'd be a 2. I might even push that to a 3. Yeah, I'll push that to a 3. So technically this bucket would be a 0 to 3. Here's the issue. In 2024, Shane Lowry, Rory McIlroy, they count as 1 team. And they do not share the same bucket except for the last year bucket. No other bucket do they share. So they represent each of those buckets individually, which means those projections can still be true. And when you build your lineup of 6 golfers, if you choose Rory, you might actually miss out on a different golfer. And I'm actually going to open it back up to the rest of the top 10, and I'm going to show you what I mean. So we're going to do this the opposite way. Let's imagine that last year, and I don't have, I forgot to capture last year's bucket system, but let's use this as a hypothetical. Let's say we wanted somewhere between 1 to 3 strokes gained 3 golfers. Well, there's Shane Lowry, there's Bobby Mack, there's Grayson Sigg, Fitchburn, Sam Stevens, and Paul Barjon. Now, what if the strokes gained 1 bucket said you wanted 0 to 2? Well, we know Rory's in that bucket, but maybe we didn't want to play Rory and we wanted to play a different strokes gained 1 golfer. And instead, we went with Shane Lowry as our 1 strokes gained 3 golfer, and maybe we picked a second strokes gained 3 golfer. Let's just say it was Grayson Sigg for whatever reason. Let's say we went with Shane Lowry because we liked a different strokes gained 1 golfer. Obviously, there was only 1 that finished inside the top 10, but let's say we liked a different strokes gained 1 golfer, and that's who we chose instead of Rory. If we're using the buckets like we typically do, okay, I'm gonna choose Rory. I'm going to choose a different strokes gained 1 golfer, and I'm actually going to exit this view and just see who else. Austin Eckroat, yeah, maybe. Oh, Patrick Cantlay, perfect. Let's just say we wanted Patrick Cantlay. That might be too difficult. I want to pretend that we wanted Shane Lowry as a strokes gained 3 golfer. So I'm trying to find a good strokes gained 1 golfer that's cheap, and there isn't any. We could cheat and use Ben Silverman, but Ben Silverman's not a good strokes gained 1 golfer from last year. And the rest of these guys are 10,000 and above. Well, either way, let's say that was our option anyways. We're just like, you know what? I don't want to choose Rory as my strokes gained 1 golfer. Instead, I want to play Patrick Cantlay as my strokes gained 1 golfer. And you could probably put Cantlay and Shane Lowry together in a lineup. Let's just say that was the case. And the strokes gained 3 bucket is a 1 to 3 projected bucket. Well, we have our 1 golfer in Shane Lowry. And because we're going crazy with Cantlay and Lowry as our 2 headliners in that lineup, we're going to miss out on Fishburne, who was another strokes gained 3 golfer, Sam Stevens, Paul Barjon, Bobby Mack, Grayson Sigg, and some of these other guys that were in the optimal lineup, I want to say. Maybe not. I guess not. But we're going to miss out on those golfers because we went rigid with our selection. We went with Patrick Cantlay as opposed to Rory McIlroy. And maybe it had everything to do with the fact that maybe the projection said you wanted 2 golfers as a strokes gained 1. You know, I'm making other things up, but let's just say, you know, you wanted somewhere between 1 to 3. And it's like, well, if I play these 2 golfers, that means there's going to be 2 of them that are going to count for that bucket, and it will work out. Basically, all I'm trying to say in all of this is each one of these golfers, each one of these teams has different strokes gained combinations together, and it makes building lineups challenging if you use the bucket system the way we typically do. So yeah, that was 2024 is what I was looking at both of those golfers, Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy. But like that was one group. If you look at the Chad Ramey and Martin Trainer group, this bucket's different, same, different, same, different. Then we go to the next one, same, different, 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 different. Go to the next one, different, different, same, different, different. Go to the next one, different, different, same, same, different. So how do we even put that into our lineups? How do we even construct a how do we even build lineups based off the bucket system from that? So we either expand it to 20 golfers for our projections, which would be insane, or I don't know, just not use it at all. So here's what I did. I'm just going to cut to the chase. I'm going to open up the optimizer that I built for the Zurich Classic. I just got to remember where I put it. And here's what I did. So a lot of these projections, if I zoom in, we're going to have to use this segment right here, by the way. So for last year one, I have in the optimizer 2 to 5. So when I look at the projection for that, it says 2 to 4. Now, I should actually bump this down to a 1 to 4. But again, because we have extra golfers that are going to be applying to the bucket system or to the top 10s, I actually expanded the max by 1. Just 1. I thought about doubling each of these projections. I think I did that last year and it worked out okay. But I think I'm just going to add a 1 to each of these projections. And so it's just going to boost up by 1. And I'm not going to make the minimum as strict. So yeah, I think for that first bucket, I'm going to change it already. We're going to change this to a 1. It's going to be a 1 to 5 projection, which is a very large gap. Like that's kind of cheating in a way, but quite frankly, I want as much forgiveness and flexibility when it comes to some of these bucket projections. So yeah, like if I total up each of these max, like the maximums, we got 10, 16. I mean, I kind of want these to be closer to 20. This one's 19. This one's 20. This one's 20. This one's 19. So yeah, they're pretty darn close to 20 on most of these, just not this one. And that's fine because like 2 buckets are 1 to 5. That's going to be just fine. And I think what I'm going to do for this video is we're going to actually string these a little bit closer because I want to be able to zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see this portion of it. Perfect. That actually works out real well. There we go. Yep, this works fine. So anyways, long story short with the bucket system, we're not going to do one for the Zurich Classic. I mean, I do have them in here, but I'm not going to cover all of the buckets. You guys can also see the bucket system on the cheat sheet, which again, you can access at SweetSpotDFS.com. You can see the raw projections. Just remember, I'm adding a 1 to the max projections. Whatever the number you see there, whatever the rules are. So like course history 2, if I just zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see it better. This course history 2 bucket, you see how it says 1.08 to 1.79. Obviously we round down this to a 0 and we want a 2-point buffer. So this goes to a 2. That is then when I add the 1. So this bucket to me will be a 0 to 3 bucket. And again, I'm only doing this for the Zurich Classic because it's a team event and golfers can just be applied to different buckets based off of their teammate. So it makes it messy. I understand. It's nuts. It's crazy. That's just what this event is. I'm not going to pretend that I've ever had that much success at this event. I'm going into it with still some structure, but I'm loosening the constraints just a little bit. Loosening it up just a little bit to account for all the chaos and volatility, but still keeping it structured to build lineups with a purpose. So it's not just a gamble all around. Any questions on that? Because I'm not going to go through each of these buckets. There's no reason. There's no point. I don't see any questions in the chat. I know there's a 10-second delay between you and I, but I don't even know if you guys would have questions. Basically just telling you we're not using the bucket system for, I mean, we're not going over it in this video, basically what I'm saying. So really, that just leads to one thing before we start building lineups, and that's to go over the marquee tee times. So the marquee tee times are still a thing, and I'm going to show you why. So if you are following along on the cheat sheet, all you got to do is sort this by the group rank. On the cheat sheet, it should be column O, I believe. No, it's column P because I added a team column. So you can see what golfers are on the same team. That is column O. Column P, that is your group rank. Put the filter on the group rank, and then that's how you can follow along with me. But yeah, these are our top groups, and there are still 9 groups, but they have 4 golfers in them each, as opposed to typically 3 golfers, because usually a lot of these events are just threesomes that go out. Well, it's a foursome. It's 2 twosomes that are going out there together, and they're all part of the same group, the same playing group, the same group. And so anyways, we have 36 golfers in the marquee tee times, where we typically see 27 and sometimes 18. Last week was 18. And you saw the marquee tee times didn't produce 2 optimal lineup golfers, but they did produce 3 sweet spot optimal and 3 GPP winning lineups. We're going to go over these, but quickly, I'm going to go over 2024. So I just want to show you that the marquee tee times still work. Select all. So here are your marquee tee times from last year, the 2024 Zurich Classic. So if you think, well, you already just kind of told me there's so much volatility here, why should we follow these rules? Well, here's 2024. McIlroy and Shane Lowry played with Kurt Kitayama and Colin Morikawa. They were in the optimal lineup together. Morikawa and Kitayama were not. Dietrich and McIntyre were in the sweet spot optimal. They were in group 3. They're playing with Taylor Montgomery and Ben Griffin. Those guys missed the cut. Matt Fitzpatrick and Alex Fitzpatrick, the brothers, they were in a lineup with Nikolai Højgaard and Rasmus Højgaard. Rasmus and Nikolai did not make the cut. Fitzpatrick, both of Fitzpatricks, they were not only in the sweet spot optimal, but they were also in the GPP winning lineup. And Fitzpatrick, geez, I want to say Fitzpatrick and Fitzpatrick, but both of the Fitzpatricks were with McIlroy and Lowry, not only in the GPP winning lineup, but also the sweet spot optimal. And then the only other missing piece there is the sweet spot optimal has Dietrich and McIntyre in it, and that's it. So there's not 2 optimal lineup golfers from here, but there were at least, I should say 2 golfers, 2 teams. There were 3 teams in the sweet spot optimal, 2 teams in the GPP winning lineup, and they weren't playing together. If I scroll down here even more, we can see some of the other golfers like Higo and Fox. You know, they were in the optimal lineup. Their playing partners were not. Go down here, and do we have our first? Yeah, here's our first. It's our first. These aren't a part of the marquee tee times, by the way. These are just the rest of the tee times. The marquee tee times mean the best tee times in the field or in the tournament. Now, this was group 23, the 23rd best group, and well, both of them are the 23rd best groups, and they finished 2nd and 3rd. They did it differently too, by the way. So they did play Thursday, Friday together, but they didn't play Saturday or Sunday together. You had 66 from Ramey and Trainer, but you had 61 with Brem and Hubbard, and 69-70. 65-64, and then it flipped 63-69. So throwing that out there, like, yeah, you can have golfers in the same group together in the optimal lineup. It's just not in the marquee tee times. At least that's we haven't seen it yet. And then when we come down here and further, we can see some of these other groups. In group 30 was Fishburne and Blair with Coles and Kazire. Coles and Kazire were not in the optimal lineup. And then down here with Echeverria and Grazerman, they played against Champ and MJ Duffy. And yeah, they were in the optimal lineup, and their playing partners were not. So that was 2024. 2023, I already put the filters on here. You've got Cantlay and Schauffele in the GPP winning lineup, as well as the sweet spot optimal. And then you had Nick Taylor, Adam Hadwin that were also in the GPP winning lineup and the sweet spot, as well as the optimal lineup. And then when we come down here, group 6, you had Davis Riley and Nick Hardy, who won the event. They played with Buckley and Spawn. So they were in the optimal lineup and the sweet spot optimal. So that is 3 sweet spot optimal lineup golfers, and technically 4 GPP winning lineup golfers, or teams, I should say. Cantlay Schauffele, Taylor Hadwin, Riley Hardy, and the Fitzpatrick boys. Wow, actually, we had even more optimal lineup. We had 4 optimal lineup golfers because Taylor Moore and Matt Neesmith were in the optimal lineup. with Riley and Hardy, Hadwin and Taylor. Oh, no, 3. I'm sorry. Just 3. So 3 optimal lineup golfers. Technically, we had 5. Oh, no. We had 4. I had things highlighted. They looked the same. 4 GPP winning lineup golfers and 3 SweetSpot optimal lineup golfers or teams. Again, it's messy. It's a messy week. Calling golfers teams, golfers, whatever. So it worked out in 2023. 2022 had to do it a little bit differently because I wasn't recording it the same way. But you can see in group 27, Cantlay and Schauffele played with Scotty Scheffler and Ryan Palmer. Cantlay and Schauffele finished first place. They were in the optimal lineup as well as the GPP winning lineup. And then you had Harold Varner III and Bubba Watson in group 29 with Sam Burns and Billy Horschel. Now, Sam Burns and Billy Horschel finished second, but they were $10,000. And if you wanted to build the perfect lineup, you actually had to include their playing partners who scored 13 points less, but were $1,000 cheaper. Welcome to DFS. That's how it works. So that was pretty close. That one is closer than I would ever have imagined. But I think because, again, just how pricing worked and how many points were scored, like Xander and Cantlay just crushed. They scored 20, or they scored 19 and a half more points than Sam Burns and Billy Horschel. And because they scored that many points, that's how you could get on a Harold Varner III and Bubba Watson. So there were 2 optimal lineup golfers from the Marquee Tee Times in 2022 and 2 GPP winning lineup golfers also. And then I don't have the same for 2021. I suppose we could. Oh, that's right. I filtered out by top 20 finishing position, and I sorted it by game. So basically, you want to see, if you see the same number under the game, that means the golfers finished inside the top 20 together. And this group right here, Keith Mitchell and Brandt Snedeker tied Keegan Bradley and Brendan Steele, but they were $2,000 cheaper, $1,900 technically, and they only scored 4 points less. So they were in the optimal lineup together, but Brendan Steele and Keegan Bradley were not. Now Bradley and Snedeker were in the GPP winning lineup, but that's where it stops. And then when we come down here, these are all different groups, by the way. Again, how I had to filter this out because I recorded it differently back in 2021. This is group 27. Smith and Leishman, you can see their playing partners are not showing up. Peter Uihlein and Richie Wierenski, they're in group 26. Their playing partners are not showing up. And then you have Louis Oosthuizen and Charles Schwartzel. Their playing partners are not showing up. They're part of group 25. So you have 3 teams in the optimal lineup right there. I couldn't tell you where they ranked when it comes to the Marquee Tee Times. I'm just showing you that pairing golfers up together in the same group. So obviously you can't put the same golfers in a team together, but they're playing team. The team that's playing alongside them, you don't want to pair them up together either. I mean, it's like it could happen, but play the numbers. I always play the numbers. Here's another optimal lineup golfer. They're in group 30. There are no other golfers here that you can see in group 30. And then Doug Gim and Justin Suh, also in the optimal lineup. You don't see anyone else in group 38. So I'm just really showing you there are no playing partners, no playing teams or playing partner teams or whatever you want to call them, paired up with golfers in the optimal lineup, optimal lineup or even inside the top 20. Sure, there were the couple that we saw up top, but either way. So here we go. Let's talk about the Marquee Tee Times for 2025. The 2025 Zurich Classic. And you know what? I'm just going to zoom up really close, just to give you guys a better way of seeing this. Oh, I skipped way past the Marquee Tee Times. I didn't even do the transition for the Marquee Tee Times. That's fine. That's okay. Here's group 1. Shane Lowry, Rory McIlroy, Horschel, and Hoagie. Group 2 is Morikawa, Kitayama, Clark, and Taylor Moore. Group 3 is Sahith Theegala, Rai, Bhatia, and Carson Young. Group 4 is Grazerman, Echeverria, Vegas, and Kevin Yu. Group 5 is Keith Mitchell, JT Poston, Ryan Gerard, Danny Walker. Group 6 is Novak, Griffin, Joel Damon, Harry Higgs. Group 7 is EVR with Christian Bezainhout. So you got South African teammates there. Then we get French teammates in Victor Perez and Matthew Pavon. That's Group 7. Group 8, we get Bobby Mack with Thomas Dietrich and the Fitzpatrick brothers. And then in the last marquee T10, we get Doug Gim, Chan Kim, Bud Colley, and Kevin Tway. So those are the 9 groups. Again, I'm going to follow the same thing I do every single week with the SweetSpot process, choosing 2 to 4 golfers to pair our lineups or to put into our lineups from the marquee tee times, and I'm not going to play them together. So if I do choose to play Rory McIlroy or Shane Lowry, since they're teamed up together, I will not be pairing them up with Horschel and Hoagie. That's how the marquee tee times work. So, we can start building lineups, and for the first roll call for the giveaways, I have to update all of this. I think we're all good, right? Yeah, so for the first roll call, just give me 2 to 4 golfers you want to build your lineups around, and try to keep them following the SweetSpot process, which means when it comes to the marquee tee times, find golfers that aren't paired up together. And I'll bring that back up on the screen. There we go. Also, you can go check this out at the, you can check out the cheat sheet that has all this information there as well. You can sort by that and find your 2 to 4 golfers. Gim and Gerard, AJ's already on top of it. Yeah, so this will be yeah, this will be it'll be a roll call as well as building lineups. We'll be building laps with the optimizer here shortly. I will be right back. I'm going to turn the green screen off, or the camera off. But yes, give me 2 to 4 golfers to build lineups around. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. One thing I'm realizing with the new place that I'm at is, now that it's getting warmer, that where my studio is for this production, it's on the upper level. Ooh, heat rises and it is warm up here. I need to get some fans. up here soon. All right. We got some lineups that are in the chat. So for those that are interested in the optimizer, this is an important section right here. Right above my head that I've highlighted. That building an optimizer for a team event, extremely difficult. I can't create it to do the things that I want it to do. But I can do this. Maybe zoom in just a little bit more. Oh, it's close. But I can't. Oh, I can do a custom. Do 145. There we go. Perfect. There we go. So you can't really build more conditionals based off of teams. So we are really going to have to focus on this right here. This number here, if this shows a dupe, I know it's really difficult for you guys to see, but it's right by the optimal lineup name up here. That little yellow box has to be a 0. So if you are building lineups, you can't do the build, run and save 10 lineups, run and save 25, run and save 50. It's just not going to work out. You're going to have to build one by one, and you're going to have to keep track of if there are any dupes. This will show you the team number that the optimizer is selecting, and then it will show the count. So if you see 2s in here at all, that means you've grabbed both golfers. If it just says 1, that's all you want right there. So let's see, what else do we need to do? I thought there was one more thing that I was thinking we had to do. I think this is fine. Oh, I'm going to change all of these to 100%. Just for the video to build these lineups. I am going to keep all the 6Ks at their 3% and less or lower exposure rates. But let's go ahead and start building some lineups. AJ already said Gim Gerard. So, or Gerard. Jeez, Gim Gerard. Gim Gerard. Pin that up to the top, and I'll find these golfers. I don't know the price tags off the top of my head. So we'll just do the find and look. There's Gim. I'm just gonna X out just to make it easy. Put no for Chan Kim, and then Gerard. And apply the same thing to him as well. Oh, I suppose let's do the giveaway. Not so much the giveaway. I got to put your guys' names down. I think that is all. Okay. I don't know if we'll do roll call number 2. I imagine we will. I think, yeah, once we hit the 2-hour mark, so if anybody wants to remind me, we can do a roll call then. But we're basically going to do the same thing we typically do. I'm going to give you 3 minutes on the timer, and we're going to build lineups. Let me know who you like, who you don't. And I will tell you each of these lineups because the optimizer is a little smaller than usual because of the little extra data I had to put in there. So here we go. 3 minutes for AJ Love. Your first lineup is Morikawa, Sepp Straka, Fitzpatrick, Doug Gim, Gerard, and Patrick Fishburn. Interesting. I need to kick somebody out. I'm going to kick out the Fitzpatricks. Next lineup is Aaron Rai, Max Grazerman, Sepp Straka, Doug Gim, Gerard, and Lee Hodges. Okay, I need to boost up Gim and probably Gerard just so we don't come across. I don't want to keep coming across this issue. We'll run it again. Lombardi Lee, I just saw you said Rick Fox. You're thinking of a different sport, bud. Rick Fox doesn't play in the NBA anymore. Right. I know you mean Ryan Fox, right? All right, so the other lineup is we're going to keep 5 of the same dudes, but we're adding Siwoo Kim to it. That's fine. It's okay to have a core 5. So this one's Rye, Grazerman, Straka, Gim, Bridgman, and Gerard. Okay. Rye, Grazerman, Straka, Gim, Gerard, and Fishburne. Wow. Yeah, but he's got a hot wife. Yeah, Rick Fox. Yup. Here we go. Here's a little bit different lineup. We get McElroy, Taylor, Gim, Gerard, Perez, and Charlie Hoffman. By the way, Charlie Hoffman is one of the highest modeled golfer that I have. One of the highest rated golfers in my model at his price tag. 6,200. Look at his points are over Victor Perez, but he's playing with Nick Watney, so can't really trust it. But yeah, it's fine. Charlie Hoffman allows you to do some other things like with Rory McIlroy lineups that you probably couldn't do. But either way. Next lineup is Morikawa, Grazerman, Stevens, Gim, Gerard, and Eric Cole. Solid lineup. I'll get you 10 lineups. I see the timer's about to be done. I'll get you to 10. Here's a good one. Morikawa, Straka, Stevens, Gim, Gerard, and Meisner. Pretty solid. Morikawa, Batia, Straka, Gim, Gerard, and Snedeker. Let's not do Snedeker. I don't even know who he's playing with, but I just don't want to play Snedeker. Morikawa, Straka, Sam Stevens, Gim, Gerard, and Isaiah Salinda. Yeah, sign me up. And by the way, if you didn't notice, I did leave $800 on the table as my minimum salary, so that has a lot to do with this being a team event yet again. And this one just goes to Stephen Fisk as opposed to the other guy. So it's the same 5 with Stephen Fisk. Let me run one more. I just want to see what it spits out. Does change things a little bit, and this is a more balanced build. You get Grazerman, Batia, Straka, Stevens, Gim, and Gerard. I probably like that a little bit more than the last one. Actually, I like them all equally, I suppose. I think what I'm going to do is actually get rid of this one down here. The one that had Bridgman, Jacob Bridgman. We'll get rid of that one. Delete that. And there are your 10 lineups. I'll move to the next guy. It's, John Bizzle wants Hoagie and Poston. Okay. Let me move these guys back. We go with Hoagie, and then we kick out Horschel. And he wants JT Poston, which means we'll kick out Keith Mitchell. All right, I'm going to put the 3 minutes on the clock for you, and we're going to start building lineups. Again, these are for John Bizzle. We get Poston, Hoagie, Straka, Colley, Hodges, Fishburne. It's a solid lineup. 10-9-8, 7-7-7. So we're already right on point with what we saw with the pass optimal and GPP lineups. Next one is Poston, Hoagie, Grazerman, Colley, Siwoo Kim, and Justin Lauer. And that's a 10-9 or 10-9-9 3-7s. That's fine. Oh, we get the Assassin, Rio Satsune. Gotta get to my button. That one was fine. Poston, Hoagie, Grazerman, Colley, Hodges, Satsune. Poston, Hoagie, Straka. We get a 10-9-8 7-7-6. Hell yeah, sign me up, man. Rosner, two Frenchmen and Perez and Rosner. I like that lineup a lot. Kevin Roy gets added there instead of Rosner, which is fine. Don't hate it. Don't love it. Don't hate it. It's whatever. Oh no, Zach Johnson. Who's he playing with? Ryan Palmer? Either way, Poston, Clark, Hoagie, Colley, Kim, Zach Johnson. It's pretty solid. Yeah, Ryan Palmer still resting on his laurels from his 2 victories. One with Scheffler and one with Rahm at this event. We have Poston, Hoagie, Batia, Stevens, Colley, and Matthew McCarty. Sign me up. 10-9-8 7-7-6. Matt McCarty. I don't know who his teammate is, but I like that lineup. You know what, AJ? Or not AJ, sorry, John. You deserve one of these. We like that lineup. Add Mark Hubbard to the mix. I like this one equally as much. Like, this is great. 10-9-8 7-7-6 again with those same 5 dudes. A good lineup. Poston, Hoagie, Fitzpatrick 10-9-8. Colley, Hodges, and Siwoo Kim 7-7-7. It's pretty solid too, man. And this is gonna be the last one, John. These ones went by fast, but they're good lineups. Poston, Hoagie, Straka, Victor Perez, Bud Colley, Chad Ramey. So I'll build one more, and this will just be the one I delete, unless it's really, really good. Which is fine. 10-9-9 7-7-6. You get Poston, Hoagie, Grazerman, Colley, Hodges, Whaley, but I'm gonna delete that one. Just keep it at 10. All right. Flying through the lineups. That was John. Dave Dean wants, or you're with Tim Tulos on this one. Okay, so Tim, we're gonna put your lineup on there right now, or the golfers that you want. I'll take the timer off. So he wants Hoagie, Echeverria, and Poston. So basically the same thing we just had. By the way, Poston and Keith Mitchell, pretty darn close to having the same stats. The only ones they don't are last year and last week, which is interesting because it would be interesting to build Mitchell lineups instead of Poston lineups because they're on the same team. But we get Hoagie, Poston, and the same thing applies with Billy Horschel and Tom Hoagie. So it's those 3 and then Echeverria. I like that. I really like Echeverria. And he's with Grazerman. So we've seen a lot of Max Grazerman being selected tonight. I mean, that's this group right here, by the way. So your lineups are kind of, they're going to be very similar, but instead of it being Grazerman, it's going to be Echeverria. So a lot of these lineups here, the Poston Hoagie lineups that had Grazerman, you can count these as lineups for you as well, pretty much. So we'll see if we get these same dudes. Hisatsune, Lauer, Hodges, Siwoo, and then Bud Colley. Okay, so Bud Colley with those 3, then Hodges, Hisatsune, or Siwoo Kim, Lauer. We'll see if we get those. Okay, timer's on the screen. Here we go. This is for Tim Tulos. Here we go. Poston, Hoagie, Echeverria, Bud Colley, Siwoo Kim, Patrick Fishburne. That's this one right here, except for Lauer, we get Fishburne. Okay. Guys all have the same taste, it appears. Next one, we get Poston, Hoagie, Echeverria, Colley, Hodges, Hisatsune. there's Hodges, and instead of Fishburne, we get his stats. Oh no, it's right here. Oh, this is the same lineup we just built. This is a dupe from earlier. Yep, same lineup, which is fine. See, but then no duplicate because it's a different golfer. Poston, Hoagie, Echeverria, Stevens, Colley, Kazire. We didn't get that one in the last one, so that's good. At least I don't think we did we? There's no Kazire in there, was there? No. Poston, Hoagie, Echeverria, Chandler, the Mustache Man Phillips, Bud, Colley, and Vince Whaley. Great lineup. Poston, Hoagie, Echeverria, Stevens, Colley, Ben Coles. Yeah, sign me up. I have no idea who Ben Coles is playing with, but I like the birdie possibility with Ben Coles. Mateo Manacero. I think he's playing with Mateo at 6,300. Who are you playing with? Cristobal Del Solar. That's Byron's buddy. Sure. There's a little volatility in that lineup. Hey, dude, they could probably make birdies in bunches during the best ball portion. Poston, Hoagie, Echeverria, Colley, Hodges, Pearson, Cootie. Pretty solid. Cootie's playing with someone good. I can't remember. Or someone decent. Poston, Hoagie, Echeverria, Colley, Hodges, Ben Silverman. Oof. Poston, Hoagie, Echeverria, Stevens, Colley, Grayson, Sig. Who is Sig playing with? Evan Kisner. Oh my goodness. Okay. Hey, this could be like a, well, I was gonna say this could be like a Ryan Palmer moment when he hired Scheffler and Rahm in different years, but it's not. Grayson Sig is not Scheffler. He's not, yeah. Never mind. Forget I said anything. Oh my God, Taylor Montgomery. Poston, Hoagie, Echeverria, EVR, Hodges, Taylor Montgomery. Only if Taylor Montgomery's playing with someone decent. That's the only way I can accept this. Thomas, oh, no. John Pack. Yeah, that's not terrible, but I just, you know what? Never mind. It's a team event. Anything can happen. We're saving it. We're doing it. And then last one, just to, ooh, I like this lineup a lot. I like this lineup better than the last one. William Mao is playing with a decent golfer. Who is it? Ricky Castillo. Yeah, sign me up. I like that lineup more. Lots of firepower in that lineup. More so than the Taylor Montgomery lineup. We all know I don't care for Taylor Montgomery. Okay. So that was Tim Toulos and Dave Dean's lineup because he said he's with them. Lombardi Lee wants Bramlett and Ryan Fox. The Bramwagon, as Cecil would say. Whatever happened to Cecil? Cecil just went away. Cecil Peters. Okay. So currently this is the last lineup to be built tonight, which it's okay. It's the Zurich Classic. It's not that important. Trey, what's going on, man? Just got here. How long you been streaming? What's up? I've been streaming for almost 2 hours now. AJ said, so far, not seen anyone I picked in my mock lineups. Well, it is the beauty of the optimizer, right? I do like the Fox Higo group and Bramlett Smalley. I think that's really solid. And just starting with, you know, anchoring around an 8K and a 7K should make lineup building a little bit interesting. Here we go, Mr. Lombardi. Let me actually put yours up there. I guess I'm just gonna do this. We get Colin Morikawa, Straka Fox, Bramlett, Colley, and Fishburne. Yeah, sign me up, man. That's pretty solid. I do need to give both Fox and Bramlett a boost. We'll give Bramlett a 200-point boost. And we will give Fox let's give him a 200-point boost as well. You're here? That's good. That's that same lineup. Oh, but Bramlett's down. Okay, so we need to pump him up even more. Jeez. Not sure why he's so low in my ranking. I do like Bramlett this week. I'll have to take a look at the model and see why he's so low. All right. We get Justin Lauer as opposed to the last one. It's the same 5. We might have to shake it up a little bit. Ooh, the assassin, Rio Satsune. Looks like you got a pretty tight core of Morikawa, Straka, Fox, Bramlett, Colley. What we got right here? I'm gonna save it. I'm not gonna build that same core one more time. I mean, I will. We'll see what. Oh, we did get a little change. We actually went from Morikawa down to Aaron Rai, but then we get Johnny Vegas as opposed to dropping to the low 7s. So this is it's leaving a lot of money on the table. $700. Aaron Rai, Straka, Fox, Vegas, Bramlett, Colley. I'm gonna bump this up to 49. We'll go 49.5. Ooh, okay. We get a little bit different lineup here. Wyndham Clark, Straka, Fox, Stevens, Bramlett, and Bud Colley. I like that lineup a lot. It's a really good lineup. Morikawa, Hoagie, Fox, Bramlett, Colley, and Eric Cole. Yeah, sign me up. Okay, you deserve one of these ones for that. That's a great one. It's a good lineup, man. Morikawa, Straka, Fox, Bramlett, Colley, and Meisner. Sign me up. I like that. Morikawa, Straka, Fox, Bramlett, Colley, and McCarty. Let's cut out Bud Colley. I do like Bud Colley, but that's a lot of Bud Colley. Clark, Straka, Fox, Bramlett, EVR, Ryan Gerard. I like that lineup. EVR's getting the boot. We'll see what comes next. Bridgman instead of EVR. That's fine. Who is Bridgman playing with? Chandler, the mustache man, Phillips. Okay, I'm down for it. I'm cool with it. Morikawa, Straka, Fox, Gim, Bramlett, and Mark Hubbard. That's a good lineup. I'm wondering why it's choosing Morikawa. Let's see what a Rory lineup looks like. Throw Rory in there instead of Shane Lowry. And then you get McIlroy, Ryan Fox, Bramlett, Perez, Siwoo Kim, and Vince Whaley. It's a good lineup. Got no issue with that one. Sometimes you just gotta force your hand. Save that one over the EVR lineup. Okay. I think that's it for lineups, looks like. I'm gonna actually, we'll do one more roll call, but I am gonna get out of here. It is the Zurich Classic. It's not that important, and I would much rather have a little bit more time to work on the website and get things in order. So last roll call for the night, just put in the number 1. That's easy enough. Put the number 1 in chat and you will get credit for, you'll get an entry into the next week's giveaway as well as the monthly giveaway 2 Tuesdays from now. AJ Love, yes, I am doing a members only stream tomorrow night. for YouTube members. AJ, while I wait for everyone to kind of chime in here, I'm just going to go ahead and send you your money. Since you were the weekly giveaway winner. All right, AJ, money has just been sent. Okay. Nah, don't put in another lineup. Oh, you're gonna put it into $5? That's cool. All right, so we got four participants. All you gotta do is type in the number 1. That's all. That's okay. Okay. This week is different, right? It's the team event. It's difficult to handicap. It's difficult to put lineups together, or at least try to come up with some kind of theme as to what you want to do for lineups. I get it. I understand all of it. I'm not even going to pretend like I'm going to know all the answers this week. I'm playing mostly to just have exposure. I'm doing it because obviously I have a website. And part of that website is to get as much data into it as possible. So I will be playing as many contests as I possibly can. If it was just like, if I didn't have a website and I wasn't really caring about, you know, participating in, well, let's put it this way. If I wasn't pulling data and not trying to, I'm also following a certain type of build strategy that I do every single week. So I'm going to continue doing that and just see how well it works. Maybe I can make an extra $20 this week. That's kind of all I'm looking forward to. But if none of that applied this week, I would take the week off. So if you guys want to take the week off, I got no issue with it. I think it's fantastic, especially if you want to save your money up for better contests down the road, because the contest selection is also pretty crap. Those winner take all contests are not filling up. I believe, I think the $1 winner take all is only half full, where like last week it was already full by this stream, and then there was another one that they created that barely filled up, but it did. I just imagine like the contests are going to be terrible. So embrace the volatility, embrace all of the craziness that comes with this team event. You know, looking at, never mind. I'm not going to go further into it. I'm going to give you guys time back. We're just going to keep this a 2-hour stream. And yeah, I'll be live tomorrow, members only. I'm still going to build lineups for myself, and I'll show you what my strategies are. We'll dig to see if we can find any similarities when it comes to like the 7K combo buckets and stuff like that. But again, it's a team event. Don't get your hopes up for finding some kind of answer tomorrow. I certainly am not. It's just a one-off event. It's a one-off event that you know, I don't know. I know I'm not selling anything properly right now, but I'm also being extremely realistic with you all. It's a team event. It's difficult to handicap. So, if you got any questions, send them to me at SweetSpotDFS@gmail.com, or you know, DM me on Twitter, X, and we can go from there. But yeah, short stream. That's all right. Thank you all for watching. Please leave a like on your way out, and I will see you in the next one.